for work, better pay, and a better life.
You talk about political aspirations that they had, and the fact that you're running for UAP Long. Can you talk about that?
Yes, my father was impressed with Huey P. Long, even though at the time in the South that blacks couldn't vote. That Huey P. Long was created the first black hospital and medical school. And even though Huey P. Long gave a pitch to the white races that they needed a black medical school and hospital because he didn't want white women seeing black men nude and so forth. My father thought Huey P. Long was using science in order to improve the situation for blacks at the time.
Are there specific events or relationships that helped advance your political grounding? I mean, things that you remember that could sort of help you inform your political.
Well, my family were always interested in politics, especially my father. As when we moved to Oakland, we were connected to the. Matter of fact, my father was the assistant pastor to Antioch Baptist Church. Reverend Thomas was the pastor, and this was down on 7th Street. The church became a member of the NAACP, and matter of fact, in the early 50s, that King was invited out by a collection of churches. And that was my first time hearing King at the Oakland Auditorium, I believe. But my family was interested in improving the political and economic situation of blacks.
How did Bobby Seale and you use the anti-poverty office as a base of operation for the early work of the Party?
Bobby Seale and I used the North Oakland Service Center as a the original work spot to put together our program. They had all the machinery, mimeograph machines and typewriters. Also, they were at the time the poverty program. The North Oakland Service Center was a part of the poverty program, and the service centers collected names of people on welfare, elderly people who needed aid. We used those lists to go around and canvass the community in order to find out the desires of the community. So we would go from house to house and explain to people our program. We printed up the first program at the North Oakland Service Center.
Why did you choose to focus on police as your target for the anti-poverty?
Well, the police throughout the community, not only the Oakland community, but throughout the black communities in the country, were really the government. We had more contact with the police than we did the city council. The police were universally disliked. In Oakland, there was in '66, there was about October '66 when the party was founded. There was about 1% black on the police department. Shortly before that, I think in '53, Oakland had its first black policeman who was a friend of my father's. His name was Kenner. My father broke friendship with Kenner because of his membership in the Oakland Police. Not because he was a policeman, but because at the time that the policy was that Kenner could only arrest black people, and if he could detain a white, but he would have to call a white officer. And my father thought this was degrading. It was no change from what was happening in the South.
Could you talk about the pattern of police brutality in Oakland as you understood it at that time, and how people articulated it to you?
Well, the police were were Southerners. Matter of fact, in '60s they were still recruiting from Georgia because we captured some flyers, and they said that the white Southerners knew how to handle these Negroes. So the police were impolite, and they were very fast to kill a black for minor offenses such as black youth stealing automobiles. They would shoot them in the back and so forth. I can't recall any particular names, but it was widespread dislike for the police because of their inhumane treatment of blacks.
What was the intention of putting forward the 10-point program? And you might summarize that if you could, the 10-point program.
Well, the 10-point program tried to identify the basic needs and aspirations of black people. We within the 10-point program, we came up with basically we needed education, we needed decent housing, we wanted fair treatments in the court, we wanted medical care, we wanted the availability for food and clothing for blacks, and full employment. So the program was a comprehensive program to really lay down a blueprint for community development.
Strawberry ice cream.
Well, early on, I was about in the early '60s, about 1960, '61. I had started Oakland City College. At Oakland City College, I was a member, instrumental in creating the Afro-American Association. The Afro-American Association was led by Donald Wharton, and the program was a cultural program to institute ethnic studies, African studies, and Afro-American studies. From the Afro-American Association,
Strawberry ice cream on a popsicle stick.
we created from the Afro-American Association. It's stemmed the Soul Student Advisory Council. And that was the action group inside of the school. After we created the study classes, I felt that there was need to do other things to affect the wider community, and I became in contact. I came in contact with the black Muslims. I was very impressed with Malcolm X, and Malcolm X program, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that Malcolm X followed, program was. It was like a 10-point program. Matter of fact, that our program was structured after the pattern after the Black Muslim program. It was minus the religion, and I think that I became disillusioned with the Muslims after Malcolm X was assassinated. I think that I was following not Elijah Muhammad or the Muslims, but Malcolm X himself.
Okay. We were talking before about community control in the black community and also you believe in that philosophy and how you sort of answer some of that?
Well, a short time after I was impressed by the Muslims and disillusioned after the assassination of Malcolm X, I was studying politics, and I became interested in progressive labor and social workers' party. At that time, it was during the period of African liberation. Most of the African countries were liberated during the '60s from colonialism, and that we felt that there was a need for not a separate nation, but control of our dispersed communities, and we wanted control of the communities where we were most numerous, and the institutions therein. And at the same time that we felt that we were due, because of tax paying, we were due free access to and equal treatment in public facilities, and we thought everyone should have that kind of participation in public facilities. This,
Second sticks.
Okay, again, the notion of community control communities and also access to public television, how is that part of the philosophy?
At the time, there were many black nationalist groups that were influenced by the African liberation movement, and we differed from the black American nationalist movement, and that we felt that we wanted it wasn't our goal for segregation or integration. Really, we wanted control of the institutions in our community where we were most numerous, and at the same time that we thought that we were due public to access to public institutions on an equal basis. And we thought everyone should be able to equally participate in public institutions. I think that, as I remember back, I was influenced by the situation and the conditions in China, in the People's Republic of China, where there were many minority groups. I think the Huns are the majority group. All of in the areas of the minority ethnic groups, the Chinese, this ethnic minority controlled its community. Yet they had full access to the public facilities. So I thought that if it could work there, it could work here.
That's good. Could you talk about you've done it a little bit, but talk about the original vision of the Black Panther Party?
Oh, whoa.
See it as a local organization?
Oh, wait, there's somebody on the other side of this. She looks like Thelma from Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo?
No, I thought that it would be a
What's up,
national
Thelma?
organization.
How you doing?
I thought that with
My volume ain't working.
the Black Panther
I gotta fix my phone. I can't hear nothing.
felt that we
Gotta fix my phone, man.
national organization
Anyways,
blacks across
peace, love, and happiness. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween. I gotta get my volume
the
worked on, but yeah.
controlling our community, the institutions of the community. We felt that the government's next move would be to bring in a National Guard to recapture these institutions, and this would connect us to the international movement of the workers' movement, the international proletarian movement, such as what's happening in Cuba.
In Cuba.
And we're very impressed by the Cuban Revolution. And at the time of the creation of the Black Panther Party, I was introduced to Marxism, and I think I had read a book called the Materialism and Imperial.
That's a good book. That's a good book.
And by Ivy Lenin. And at that time,
I didn't read it, but I watched a
it was
YouTube
pointed
video
out that there are many
explaining everything.
contradictory social forces, and if you knew what to increase or decrease at a particular time, that you could cause a transformation. And so we were trying to increase the conflict that was already happening, and that was between the white racism, the police forces in the various communities and black communities in the country. And we felt that we would take the conflict to so high a level that some change had to come.
Something very specific. The action began at traffic light Santa Fe School. It was fairly dramatic. Could you describe what happened, how that changed, and how you went about trying to do that? And also the use
What up, E-Man?
I went to Santa Fe
What's
Elementary
what?
School.
That's Huey Newton,
In North Oakland.
and this is AliExpress.
And while I was there, many children were hit by cars and so forth. There was no traffic light in front of the school. It was a very busy street, Market Street crossing the school. So one of the first action of the Black Panther Party was to go down with our arms and be traffic police. At 3 o'clock, when the school was let out, we would stop the traffic and allow the children to pass. Of course, this would bring an army of police in the area. They would take over the traffic jam that would occur. So, and also they would attempt to arrest us for bearing arms. But they would become aware, which they were not, that the law provided for us to bear arms at that time. We went to the city council and asked them to put up the planning commission of the city council, the Oakland City Council. So the Oakland City Council said that they had already passed some policy to put up a traffic light, but it would be about 5 years from October 66. And we weren't satisfied with that. So we went to the community and gathered a few hundred, maybe 1,000 signatures, and took those to the city council. We also still police when the police were not there. We would police the area. Every time we would try, the police would take over. So the purpose was served anyway. The traffic light quickly went up in about 3 or 4 months after that. Well, every time we would go out on alert patrols or surveillance patrols, that I would feel that we might not come back. I felt that the police might shoot us because they were very disturbed, to say the least, about the presence of blacks with guns. And some of the works of Fidel Castro, when he was in the Sierra Maestra. As a matter of fact, before he left Mexico, that he asked that everyone give their name of first of kin or someone to be notified in case of their death. And when people had to do that in his guerrilla organization, everything became very serious. And so we would, before we went on our first patrol, and anyone who would join us after, we would always ask who should be notified in case of their death. And this would make it very serious to the person.
Yeah, the Panthers often quoted the law. Could you talk about the importance of law, U.S. law for the Panthers? Was it tactical or was it a philosophical agreement? What were some of the books that you read? What were some of the texts that you read?
Well, while I was at Oakland City College, I took a law enforcement course, and it was criminal evidence by Aliquan and Creek, and criminal law. And this was the the textbooks used by the local law enforcement agencies, and that in criminal evidence there was a section inside of the book on reasonable cause to search and reasonable cause to stop, and we would follow the police around, and when the police would arrest or detain someone, we would give their rights to them. We would stand at a distance where the police couldn't say they were interfering with their arrest or their detention of the individual, and make sure that there was no brutality. Of course, this turned the wrath of the police towards the party. And if they arrested anyone, we would, in some cases, we would go down to bail them out, thereby getting a new recruit in our organization.
Denzel Dowell was shot down in North Richmond in April of 1967. Supposedly under some sort of fugitive or intent to commit a crime afterward. How was this death the backdrop to the May 67 the second understanding?
There was a law, California law, and I think it still exists. If there's reason cause to believe that a felony is being committed, and if the defendant flees, it's the right of the police to detain him, to capture him with any means necessary, and that's including shooting the person. Denzel Dowell was accused of tampering with the lock in the back of a store, and he was shot in the back with a shotgun in Richmond. And there was some question whether he was walking through the alley or whether he was actually trying to break into the store. We protested his murder.
Oh my God!
We went to the DA's office and the sheriff's department. The sheriff told us if we didn't like the law of detaining or capturing a felon or suspected.
Yup.
Okay, again, the death of Denzel Dowell in Richmond, just talk about
Yeah, Denzel Dowell was killed there in Richmond by the police and for allegedly tampering with the lock in the back of a store, and that we talked to the district attorney about his being shot in the back, and we talked to the sheriff. And they both claimed that it was justifiable shooting.
I'm gonna take a nap, bro. I gotta go to sleep.
Anyone is suspected of a felony and he tries to flee, then
like, subscribe, and hug your grandma. Okay, it's your boy YCT.
Apprehended anyone.
And I'm going to sleep. I'm going to sleep, man. I've had enough.
And the sheriff's told us if we wanted those laws changed, we could go to Sacramento to change the law. And that's we would go to Sacramento. Talk to the legislature.
why were the draft laws in October of '67? Why were they significant in terms of a changing approach what are some of your personal memories?
I went to the Oakland Induction Center, where there was a march going on, and against recruiting of soldiers from Vietnam, and the police moved in and started to beat demonstrators. And I heard some of the white progressives say that we need guns. And of course, we had to conclude that before we weren't armed with this particular Matter of fact, I think it was only Bobby and I who went down. This was shortly after the party was created. And matter of fact, after that event, that we had a closer relationship with the white progressives in the area. At that time, we called them the white radicals.
What happened that night, October 1967, that night you were shot, Officer Fry was killed?
I had been to a party meeting, and we after the meeting broke up, I went down to 7th Street, which is an all-night spot for food. And as I drove down, I noticed a police following